Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. We are here as part of UN Water Conference. This is a side event to the UN Water Conference called Access to Drinking Water for Indigenous Peoples in the Amazon, the case of the Yawanao peoples in Agua Camelo. But before we start, we'll start with presentations. I would love to invite Chief Tashka Yawanawa to open the meeting with a blessing and some words. Thank you.
Thank you, Lida, for giving us space to share a little bit about this basic project we do with Agua Camelo and the way that we used to open a meeting, the ceremony, and the community actually create the guidance for us. You do this to Yawadao praise song. Goodbye, Kiria. Goodbye, Kiria. Vaivuru Tanaki. Vaivuru Tanaki. Kachikachi Kurari. Kachikachi Kurari. Kubakuma Kurani, Kubakuma Kurani, Mari Mari Kurani, Kapu Kapu Kurani, Kapu Kapu Kurani, Ankuna Vunai, Ankuna Vunai. Kiri kiri kirani, kiri kiri kirani, antoro unuya,
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Welcome. Great. And thank you for everyone online for joining us and following along. Welcome as well. So just wanted to say a few words before we begin. My name is Nina Kencheva, and I'm the Senior Policy Advisor for the Engagement of Indigenous Peoples and Local Communities at the Nature for Development team and Climate and Forest team here at UNDP. This webinar and this meeting is organized by the UNDP-led Equator Initiative, which is a program that brings together the United Nations, government, civil society, indigenous peoples, local communities, businesses, and grassroots organizations to recognize and advance local sustainable development solutions for people, nature, and resilient communities. And through the Equator Prize that started back in 2002, in the past 21 years, we have a network now of 275 indigenous peoples and local community organizations and networks and communities who have been awarded the recognition for protecting their territories, their culture, and people. And our friends here from the Sociocultural Yawanao Association are one of those winners. Very happy to have you. The goal, I wanted to say a little more about what we aim to do here at the Equator Initiative. It is to center indigenous peoples and local communities at the core of sustainable development, because indigenous peoples have millennia of knowledge and of stewardship of nature. We also aim to impact policy with the traditional knowledge of indigenous peoples and facilitate the replication of scaling of these solutions that the Yawanao Association and other winners bring to us. Indigenous peoples, who number 476 million people globally and represent around 6% of the global population, steward close to 80% of biodiversity and manage more than a quarter of territory on planet Earth. In addition, indigenous peoples and local communities are the guardians of tried and true and tested traditional ecological knowledge, which is the key for the transformational change the planet desperately needs. We absolutely cannot achieve the ambitious goals set out by the UNFCCC or by the Convention on Biological Diversity without the full and effective participation of Indigenous peoples and their participation in decision making. As you know, the global community has called many of the traditional ecological knowledge and practices of Indigenous peoples nature-based solutions, which is slightly problematic, we've heard, because the nature-based solutions are managed and put forth by people and by the communities themselves. However, here we are, we'll mention them a little bit and how they relate to water, because we're here on the occasion of the UN Water Conference. So nature-based solutions are those solutions that harness the power of forests, wetlands, grasslands to filter waters, to regulate water flow, and to protect communities from floods and droughts. Now, there have been increasing calls for Indigenous traditional ecological knowledge to be formally recognized and implemented in the various international frameworks. It remains yet to be seen how this conference will reflect Indigenous peoples' knowledge. However, we're tracking this process, and this is in the larger discussion, of course, happening across the street. But here we are gathered today to hear from Chief Tashka and Laura Yawanawa, who represent the Sociocultural Yawanawa Association, and from their partners, Agua Camelo, who are here from a social enterprise, and they have a project together to bring clean water to their communities. So I just wanted to go around the room rather than me reading the introductions, for everyone to introduce themselves. We're not a very big group, so if we can go around, and I wanted to start with you, Laura, to introduce yourself, and then we'll begin with some questions.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to UNDP for hosting this meeting for us. And I'm Laura Yawanawa. I am the Executive Director of the Yawanawa Sociocultural Association. And we are very grateful to be here to share our experience with you all.
Obrigado, Laura. Hey all, I'm Steve Carlson. I come from many different hats. I'm a consultant of sorts, education consultant. I currently work on a few projects in the Amazon, one being with the Confenai, the people of the Indigenous Confederation of the Indigenous Peoples of the Ecuadorian Amazon, and their development, supporting their development of their youth leadership school called the Escuela Viva de la Amazonía. I come to the UN conference, though, under a different title. I'm one of the programmatic directors of a new organization called Water Corps, where it's trying to bring more young people into decision-making and employment spaces within the water sector.
Hi, everyone. My name is Terrence Haiti. I'm a program advisor with the UNDP Nature, Climate, and Energy on local action, Indigenous peoples and nature. I've worked in UNDP for almost 20 years through the small grants program, channeling finance to Indigenous peoples, NGOs, CSOs, mainly focused on the CBD and the biodiversity space. We work with many different bilaterals to the small grants, including with Jeff, but also with Germany, increasingly around the CBD targets, spatial protected and conserved areas. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Hi, my name is Heather McGee. I run a company called 17 Asset Management, and we are aligned to the 17th SDG in particular partnerships, but we build asset management products that affect all the SDGs, and we measure it accordingly. SDG 6 specifically, as everyone here knows, interlinks to everything. And so that's why we're at the water conference. Really thrilled to have kind of last minute been invited to this conversation, and looking forward to learning from you all.
Hi everyone, I'm Tashka Yawanawa. I'm one of the chiefs of the Yawanawa people, which we talk about is the Yawanawa people lives in the Yawanawa territory, which is located in the state of the Acre in the Brazil Amazon rainforest.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joey Griner. I'm a founder of a community called Converge, where we organize different kinds of wellness gatherings and events, music festivals, where we bring in Indigenous elders to share their traditions, wisdom, ceremonies, and through these activities and gatherings, we can raise funds for protection of Indigenous lands and conservation of culture, and also cultural exchange, sharing these beautiful traditions with people that are interested to learn more about the wisdom that our Indigenous brothers and sisters have to offer.
Eu não falo inglês, vou me apresentar em português, tá bom?
Ok, tá bom.
Eu sou Maiara Boitacá, sou indígena também, lá do Rio de Janeiro. Sou indígena de contexto urbano, sou da aldeia Maracanã, lá do Rio. Vim aqui também para a Conferência de Águas para poder trazer um documento de advocacy que a gente está construindo lá no Brasil e América do Sul com os jovens. E cada jovem trouxe a sua realidade com relação à água. E teve muitos jovens de vários territórios indígenas, também do Brasil, e territórios quilombolas, ribeirinhos, e várias outras frentes, assim. Então tá bem bonito, né? Muito próximo da realidade, porque a ideia foi essa, a gente também abordar outras temáticas que não fossem, que não estão sendo muito verbalizadas, que é essa questão também da nossa espiritualidade com relação às águas. A água, nós somos água, né? Então a gente tem que trazer para esse lugar de fala também, falar sobre os conhecimentos ancestrais e fazer isso incorporar de fato nas políticas públicas.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm
Sure, I'll translate. Yeah,
yeah.
I can translate and you can add whatever. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, so can you tell so nome?
Maiara.
Mayara is a representative of an indigenous community in Brazil, urban indigenous peoples in Brazil, and she's here also for the Water Conference. She works with many groups, especially to represent the interests and perspectives of youth, of young people, including the spiritual understanding of indigenous communities around water, pure water, and also introducing the advocacy that has been collected into policy.
Is it good? I don't think so. I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mayara also represents another coalition, which is called Águas Resilientes, right? Which is a youth movement, it's really great. It's really, really great. So we are really glad that she is here.
And also
Voz das Comunidades.
É,
And also Voz das Comunidades, which is another movement in Brazil, like more in the favelas to report news and to really showcase what is happening in their sites, in their places, not just the regular news, focusing on their perspective and their yeah.
Obrigado.
And so I'm Rodrigo in Portuguese. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Agua Camelo. I stay more in a strategic role, so I'm with investors. I also do the sales with João, and yeah, we do everything. I mean, like we are just three of us, so we kind of do everything ourselves. But just to clarify, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you, Nina, for having us and to hosting this event. So we're really glad that Tachka and Lauro also made it. We are really glad that you guys are here to share with us your perspective and your knowledge. So thank you very much.
My name's Andy Wanning. I've worked off and on with Tribal Link for about 25 years. Worked with Nina for a while and with the Yawanawas for a long time as well. So thanks for having me and us here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Julia Mede. I work at UNDP. I lead the work of the Twitter initiative. So, first part of my work focuses on working with indigenous peoples and local communities that are within our Equinox network that Nina was mentioning before. And obviously, Laura and Tashka are part of it, the Yawana are part of it. So thank you so much again to both of you for being here, and Agua Camelo and for Nina for convening this meeting.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Daniel. I'm the COO of Agua Camelo. So the three partners and co-founders are here, which is really nice for us. I want to thank Nina for organizing this event, UNDP Traveling for making it possible for us, Laura and Joaquin, to be here. It's been a really incredible week for us as a small, early startup. We were founded just 3 years ago, and it's incredible for us to be here now at the Water Conference with all these huge world leaders and corporates that are speaking and exchanging their experience on how we can reach the SDG 6 until 2030. It's been incredible to hear it, and we are so happy to be here and host our event together with people that live the reality of what we are talking here. So it's a huge honor to have Laura and Joaquin here to speak a bit of their perspectives on how it is to actually live, how it was to live in this subject that we are all talking about. So we miss a lot in this huge conference to hear about the big corporates. I mean, we hear a lot about them, but we miss hearing about the people who are actually on the field and living this every day. So we're really happy to be able to talk about a little bit of this project that we are field actors. So we are together with the community, building together, and we know that more and more this change has to come from the bottom to top, to reach the top when it's time to sign the papers, and not to have the ideas to the bottom. So it's really, really grateful for us to be here and share a bit of our experience.
Well, that's a hard one to follow, but I'll keep mine brief. My name is Joey. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I'm the communications officer for the Equator Initiative, as well as the UNDP Nature for Life Club, and it's an absolute honor to be here today. So pass it on.
Thank you. So I am João Manuel. I am the CCO of Agua Camelo. I am the responsible for our work with the communities, not just in the field, but in our social medias, our clients, and all of this communication stuff. I was born in the Amazon, so I went to indigenous communities since I was born. Had the pleasure to meet Joaquin and Laura since I'm with a little child, and it's really a great pleasure to be here and present all of this work that we're building together. I think it's not finished yet. We still have a lot to do, but it's incredible to what we are doing already and what we have to share with you guys, and to ask for more people to come together and we can have the opportunity to continue this work.
Thank you. If I can invite the lady back there, please introduce yourself.
I'm Carmen Hernandez. I'm an intern in the communications team. Here to learn.
Wonderful. Welcome, Carmen. Welcome. Yes, Mariana.
Hi, how are y'all? I'm Mariana. I work with Steve on this film, the Amazon. It's great that we live in Amazonia. And I also work at Cornell and do a lot of work around worker labor, green jobs, sustainable job work. So good to meet y'all.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for the introductions. And I wanted to invite the people online. Please feel free to enter your introductions in the chat box. We can look at them later. So thank you so much. And thank you. I was remiss to mention our Partners Traveling Foundation. Thank you so much for helping co-organize this event, and also all of your partners. Great. So let's begin this conversation on the very, very important topic of water. And one quote we heard at the event the other day where Indigenous peoples were sharing was that the water is not a resource, it is the source. I think you practice this, but Laura, I wanted to turn to you first and ask you to share a little bit with us, Laura and Tashka as well. What does water mean to you? I know that you have a very deep spiritual connection to water, and to talk to us a little bit about what that means to you, and then talk to us about the situation in your community. Thank you.
Yeah, well, water is really our life. We in the Yawanawa, in the Yawanawa Sociocultural Association, as an indigenous organization based in the state of Acre, we are working to protect our territory, which is about 200,000 hectares of rainforest, but that includes all our rivers and streams, lakes, and that's that's basically the source for water for us. But so water is in the Yawanawa spirituality, and Tashka can add more to that, is a spirit. You know, the water is a spirit that guide us. Is the way that guide us to the spiritual world. And you know, because it's always running, so water is also um, you know, part of us, part of the universe, part of you know, of you know, just like the sun, the sky, the forest is vital, you know, for us to survive, to live in this world, you know, the water and also the air, you know, that we breathe. So we, you know, indigenous people, we the Yawanawa, have been always trying to find ways to protect our water, our biodiversity, through our spirituality, our cosmovision. That's why we have been working very hard to strengthen our culture, our traditions, and traditional knowledge for the past, you know, 25 years or so. Because our cosmovision, our vision to see nature, our vision to see water as spirit, that's what makes us to really protect everything we have. And so nowadays, you know, with the contact, you know, colonization, I don't know if maybe a lot of you know, but a lot of you don't know about the history of the Yawanawa. But the Yawanawa, you know, were slaves, you know, it's not in the before. It's not more than 100 years that the Yawanawa people were living on their you know, slavery from the patrons that came to explore the rubber. And then came the missionaries of the new tribes who were there like for 50 years, more or less. And they, the Yawanawa didn't have any rights to the land. You know, it was only in the 80s that it was the first demarcation in the Yawanawa land. Actually, the Yawanawa were the first indigenous people in the state of Acre that got the land demarcated. And then, you know, we organize ourselves as an organization. That's when we really started to work on the survival of the Yawanawa. And so nowadays, you know, we have all this water, all these lakes, all these streams, the river, but the water is not pure enough for us to drink. So we have had for the past, you know, decades, or you know, problems of diarrhea, so problems of health, you know, among the children, among all the population. And through the Yawanawa Sociocultural Association, we always look for allies. You know, nowadays we cannot survive alone, you know, as indigenous peoples, and we need always to find allies, you know, to help us to maintain the land healthy and maintain the people healthy. So that's how, you know, we met our Camelo, and of course through very close allies, you know, like Joan's parents and Joan, you know, and his friends, you know, these amazing young people, you know, which is very beautiful, you know, to see young people, you know, the new generations finding solutions for the world. You know, that really makes me feel very hopeful, you know, to see that these young people, you know, are innovating, are producing, creating positive solutions, and that can benefit indigenous peoples and in the Amazon and why not all over? So yeah, so that's what it's beautiful about this relationship. The indigenous people and the generations and innovation using the technology as a tool to do good, in the world. I think everybody should work on that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Laura. Before we turn to Joao and Agua Camelo, Tashka, did you want to add anything about the spiritual, how you understand water and your very deep connection to water?
Sure, but I think that's everything. I love her. She was just inspiration. Everything was start to talk, spray out. But the water for us, they is not material, but linking to spirituality. Because we believe the rivers is connected with the skies. When we pass, we follow the tree to the sky, to the river. At that point, the sky met with the earth. And also when shaman is healing somebody, spray for somebody, he also get the water and clean his spiritual way, his body. He need to be clean to connect the soul and the body. And the rain also have the spirit of the rain. Everything is connected with material and spiritual world. For indigenous people that live in Amazon, we don't have it 4 seasons. We just have 2 seasons. Rain was not the rain. And the raining time is really, it's time when we prepare ourselves to listen to the rain, to live with the rain, be in touch with the rain, of course with the water. And because the water is so important for humanity, people was believing that the third world was happening for the water, but now Putin make everything's crazy. But the water is very important for the whole humanity. And I used to say, to protect the water is a responsibility for each of us, depending of the water, to maintain a planet clean and beautiful for this and the future generation. I will really feel touched what Laura say. It's so beautiful see the young generation doing their best to change the world because the change starts with us. I know João before he's born because Bia, his mother, is my colleague for so long. He's now supporting partner, and also Marcelo, and he's invited these others, inspire young people from Rio de Janeiro to also make a difference. I think the young people start getting step. This is really making me happy because I'm getting old now. Thank you.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. I mean, I just insisted on that because obviously water, we can't live without it, but if we want to go beyond the material and beyond the physical and understand that, you have a very deep spiritual connection that is tied to your culture and to your cosmovision. So thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you. And I think each one of us, from wherever we come from, we have similar stories that we might have forgotten. So hopefully it'll inspire us to reclaim them and learn them again. But I wanted to turn to you in particular because there's another connection. You bring another connection to the Equator Prize, which is going to lead to my next question. The next question is, how did you all come together? How did this connection? We heard a little bit about it, but since the story is connected to the Equator Prize, do you mind mentioning and sharing how that's connected to the Equator Prize?
My mom, she won the Waiter Prize. I don't know exactly the year.
2002, one of the first
2002,
prizes, yeah.
And she was working with the rubber of the forest. She has like a really beautiful work with the couro vegetal.
Yeah,
It's
vegetable leather.
yeah, vegetable leather. So I think it's kind of crazy how the
Yes.
everything works,
That's
right?
really cool.
And I think like connecting with Yawanawa, Joaquin, when I was like 15 years old, and I moved to Rio to study. I started to bring a lot of to come with a lot of friends to the Amazon, and I asked Joaquin to go to the festivals that a lot of people goes there, and he told me you're a guest, and all of the people that go in with you, it's a guest as well. So thank you so much, Tasca, for letting us go and see and bring them there to watch with their own eyes and to give this perspective for people in the cities. And he told me, this is not something that I am giving to you. I am doing an investment because these young people, they're gonna have their own companies, they have their own works, and I know when you get older, you're gonna bring us something and have something to collaborate with. So it's incredible to, after a couple of years, come back working there, not just enjoying to and learning so much with this community, with these people that gave me so much.
Wow, incredible. And he was right.
Yeah, he was right. Totally right.
Of course, as always. So I do want to invite our Camelo to please talk to us about your work and what you brought to the Yawanawa community and other communities, as we understand, around Brazil.
Sure. I think that I can start just saying just
Sure,
a few
please.
things.
Yeah, please.
I'm not gonna go so deep on what we do, like so technical and so marketing stuff, not like that. But I'm just wanna say that lots of quotes really struck to me during this week, and some of them are related to climate change, and water is basically life. We just heard the final quote on the last event that we were. There was like there are a lot of water without life, but there's no life without water. This is the thing that we need to understand. You know, like this is how it goes. And the other thing, it's related to climate change. So a lot of you guys work with climate change, and as we see it, is that climate change, if climate change is a shark, water is the teeth of it. Because water is so related to all the 17 SDG goals. So yeah, the SDGs. So what we do here with the Yanawa peoples, it's really systematically, because as we are providing them, enabling them to have to filter the water, a filtration system. It's much more than just drinking like water. It's a health benefit for them. And if they have a benefit in their health, they will be more able, they will be like more prepared to spare the forest, to conserve the forest, and to do all their necessary work for all this climate change thing and for all the knowledge that they need to share with everyone, you know. So I think this is what we truly do without talking about the technical thing. I think this is what we look at, and this is what we are really trying to commit ourselves to be doing for the next few years to really solve the crisis. As Laura was saying, we know that there are a lot of communities, indigenous communities inside the Amazon rainforest that don't have access to safe drinking water. They do have access to water, but they don't have access to safe drinking water. And this is a huge gap. Because if you don't have the technical support, if you don't have the technical, like the products, the filtration systems, we won't be able to make it happen. So this kind of partnerships, you know, so it's not just like they want to walk calling us and say like, come on guys, come here and implement it. It's not like that. We need to have really a coalition. And this is why it is so important to have both of you guys here, because this really represents our kind of work. We don't go to the communities and say like, hey guys, do like that. No, the first thing we do is to hear them. It's to understand them. It's to try to understand them at least. And what are their conditions on WASH? What are their knowledge about WASH? So they really want us to be there and really collaborate with our work to make it happen, to make the results that we are going to show. They are incredible, like incredible. So this was only, we were only capable of doing it because of this partnership. So these are just a few things that I wanted to highlight before we started the presentation.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. Love to see the presentations that yeah.
Yeah, I think they have it.
So we'll just be able to see it. Great, great.
Okay, who's going to lead us to the presentation?
It's actually gonna be more like a conversation. I can start, but it's maybe more like a conversation.
Yeah.
And if anyone of you have any questions, please interrupt us and just ask it. And Tashka and Laura, please join us anytime you are also the presenters, please. Bye-bye. Yeah, I think Laura taught us a lot about the NLS people. Do you want to give us something or don't you want to follow?
No, go ahead.
You? All right. Just go ahead. As you can see,
This is important.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe
Come on.
mention something about
You,
the life
you want to talk about the life plan?
No, you can do that.
Yeah, well, we built for 5 years our life plan together with all the communities. The Yawanawa Sociocultural Association represents 13 communities along the Gregorio River. And we together we develop with all the communities, with all the men, the children, the elders, everybody during 5 years our life plan, which is basically our strategic planning that involves all the areas of the people, like the education, health, our territory, some sustainable economic projects that we want to develop in order to secure the health, the education, our biodiversity, and how we want to protect our territory for the next 20 years. So this is very important because part of our life plan includes the health area, also the protection of the water streams, all the our rivers and lakes, sacred lakes, but also how we want to be able to get access to clean water, because how we can resolve that problem, that we have had of, diarrheas and all these diseases that come from drinking water that is not pure. And so this has been one of the big challenges for us. And, our government in Brazil receives a lot of resources for, that kind of thing, for to provide indigenous peoples with access to pure water, but we never really got that support. So we, since we are organized, we are always trying to find allies, alternative solutions. So that's how, we came out with, finding it was perfect to meet our Camelon. So we are starting this project, now,
And I think what really resonates about it, and I was just saying to the other event, we have a quote in back there in Brazil which says that who is hungry has hurry. And I think it's the same, right? If you don't have access to safe drinking water, you have hurry to have it because it's so important. and not just for a personal level, but a community level and how to develop upon it. So it's perfect. A little technical challenge. And these, just to clear things up, all these photos are from our projects together, right? So they're not like stock photos. Those are like our photos, and beautiful photos from Gabriel.
You want to maybe talk about some partnerships or?
Sure, you want to talk about the. Yes, as I was telling you, one of our strategies as indigenous organization is that we cannot do things alone. So we always are looking for partnerships. Some of the first ones was with Aveda Corporation, which is a corporation that is based in Minneapolis, and we were able to sell urucum, the red color, to them. So they produce shampoos and lipsticks, but they also have been paying the Yawanawa for the use of image and the use of the name Yawanawa. And we have had this partnership with Avida like for about now 31 years actually. And so this first relationship with Avida taught us a lot, of how we should deal with companies or how we can make business in a good way, a fair way, with between businesses and indigenous people. So then after that, we developed different partnerships with farm, with artists like Alok. He's our ally, our brother. He's our family. And with farm Brazil too. With farm farm. We have this beautiful relationship. They use some of the Yawanawa designs in clothes, and they pay royalties to the Yawanawa. So we invested in our lifeline, and also they get these bracelets, Yawanawa is from the women, the Yawanawa women, and we have this partnership with Together Band also in they are from England, and they are helping us to develop acai art, bands and acai necklaces. And chili beans is something new that we were actually, this is a good new news, for you all. There will be a release of Yawanawa sunglasses in partnership with Alok, Yawanawa and chili beans. And and other beautiful partnerships that actually we did it through UNDP. So Anna with Ship Inc. And with Ship Inc. it's an Australian company.
British, the UK.
A British company, and they use some of our Yawanawa patterns, and they produce beautiful shawls and scarves that they only sell in Europe. But all the profits will come to our Yawanawa life plan, 100%. 100% comes to Yawanawa. It's a limited edition.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very,
Really special.
very special, very special. And of course, and now with our Camelo friends.
Just one comment before we continue, is that you really have such an incredible model of self-determined development that we, the Equator Initiative, would like to continue putting you together with other Equator Prize winners and other communities to learn from you, because you've been so successful to really leverage your traditional designs and knowledge and vision. That would be incredible to share that knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Great
A pioneer, right? A way to do the things, because you come with all the community to have the specific points that you want to have the importance in different perspectives. So the water, the festivals, and the culture, and like, so now that we have everything point, we can come with different partners, and it's everything so clear to everyone. So when we went to work with them in the water project, we told Joaquin and Laura, so let's start small. Let's make this possible and learn about how we can do this kind of thing. And then we get bigger. And they told, no, we need to work with all the communities. And we were like, please, let's just start small, learn a little bit, and then we can work all along. And so this is like a really beautiful way to work, not just getting things for different families or different houses, or it's not individual. It's everything is like for everyone there. So I think it's a really beautiful way to get things.
So yeah,
Oh,
just
all right.
yeah, just to start. Do you wanna have it?
Maybe you a little introduction.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Camilo and then-
Yeah. Oh, all right. So Agua Camilo, for those who don't know, is a social enterprise which sells a service, B2B. So we sell it to companies to enable communities to have access to safe drinking water. And we do that on the Amazon rainforest mainly now because of our work with the Yawanawa. And then we really really called our attention that we do need to do something. We need to do something, and we have the tools to make it happen. So this is why we are mainly working now with the Amazon rainforest, but we are also working in the favelas, in the slums, but also in the semi-arid region in Brazil. We are now at 10 states. We have distributed more than 1,000 kits Camelo, which is our familiar solution, and we have implemented. After this month, I think we'll get to 30 the other filtration system, which has a bigger flow rate from 1,000 to 20,000 liters per hour. And we have implemented already 12 of it, but we are going to implement another 20 in the Yanomami territory, which is passing through a huge humanitarian crisis. We're not going into it now, but it's really, it's a really challenge that it's happening. So we were invited by Ambev, which is internationally it's known by AB InBev, to a cohort of an accelerating program of them, and we were invited to develop a pilot project. So what we did was we took 25 Kitchis Camilo, which is the familiar solution, and we implemented, as Ron said, once we went to talk to Tashka and Laura, they said like, no, we need to start it all over the community. And we said like, we cannot do that. Like we don't have the means and this is not how it's going. So we started really slow, like really small actually, to really learn and to see if that would actually help, because we were arriving at the rainy season. So that's when the challenge is really even higher than it is normally, so it was like, you're either gonna have it, it's either gonna make it happen, or it's not at all gonna solve the problem. So we implemented it, 25 pitches Camilo in the Amazon rainforest, in the Mutum community, but we also did 75 pitches Camilo also in the Providencia, which is a favela in Rio de Janeiro. And the results were like incredible, as I was saying before, because of the partnership, so it's basically a triangle. Like we have the tool and the service. ABI came with the money and the willing to help, and Yawanawa show us the way of which would effectively help them and to collaborate to make it happen. So, do you want to add some or no?
And the compromise.
Yeah, the compromise was that if the results were positive, we're gonna expand for all the villages, and almost every day, Joaquin and Laura, what about the results? We can continue, so let's do it. So
just to add this point, how were we gonna know if it would have a good result or not? This is a big part that we need to talk about it. I think at the presentation, we're gonna talk about a little deeper on the following slides, but we did a really big work on developing. Actually, Daniel was responsible for that. He developed with INSPER, which is a huge university back there in Brazil, which is really respected for this kind of work. He developed a methodology specific for our project to assess the impact that we are making in our projects, because there are a bunch of methodologies to assess the impact all over the market, but they're not specific. So we really wanted to be really deep and to really gather all the data necessary to show the results that we were having, because we know that we need the funds, and the funds comes with data, right? So it comes with results. So, and this was our compromise, because once we implemented it, they were like, yeah, we liked it, and we wanted to expand. So we really needed the data, and this were like a huge part of it, because we had to hire local agents, right, Laura? And it was like amazing.
We, in the Yawanawa Association, we insisted very much, to always, not only for our Camelon, but everything we do, any relationship we start with the company, with government, with whoever, we always request, that all the communities are benefited that we represent, the 13 communities that we want everybody, or all the Yawanawa population to be benefited, and that's why, we got the trust of the Yawanawa, because they know that we are here not alone, we are here, they know we are here. We have the Yawanawa Leadership Council, which is a new model of governance that we created, that includes members of 13 communities that we represent, and includes the one woman and one man that is the main representatives of each community, and they are part of our Yawanawa Leadership Council. And for the first time after many years, the voice of the women the Yawanawa women have the same power of decision in all the areas of the politics, economics, and projects of the Yawanawa, because before it wasn't like that. It was more just one man, oriented. And that's kind of more.
It's very funny because other day I was watching the news. I saw Harrison Ford complain about this music. Dun, 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 dun. Whenever his goal, play this music. He was in some place doing endoscopy him and play this music. So, the same thing is at the bag of Agua Camilo. Every place he go to house, bag of Agua Camilo. I was over there was the kitchen with the little kids. I saw the Camilos there. I was working the farming, people was holding that. Everywhere. This is really great because people's really using that. This really works, and people's really happy. It's very useful, very practical. It's not something like you can move everywhere. People going hunting for some days, they go there because they can put it inside any kind of water. It comes any kind of water, they get out very clean. That's just really great. It's very used, very practical, and we don't need something very complicated. We need something very practical in our life. This really works in the community.
Thank you, Tashka.
Let's see the kid. We're very curious.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
See the kids.
Yeah, so just the first step, as we were saying, the first step, which is really important, is the diagnosis we do with the community to really understand their needs and what they know about WASH, what are their practices about WASH, what are their behavior with WASH. So, and WASH is water, sanitation, hygiene, right? So just to get clear. And so what we do is after this diagnosis, we do a specific workshop for each community. So it's if a workshop is happening in the favela, we're gonna talk in a way. But if it's happening in the Amazon rainforest, it's another talk, because we need to be specific for each community, each region, because we have so many microcultural systems in Brazil. So each community have their own specification. So it's really important, this kind of workshop. And after it, in the Amazon rainforest with the Yawanawas, we did this workshop of painting the bags. So to really be individually, so each one of them have their own painting and their own, they know which bag is from each one. So this was really, really great.
And the workshop is also like the most important educational part of our project. So we don't not just introduce technology that treats the water for them to drink, but we also have, because just the safe drinking water will not solve the problem in a systematic way. People have to wash their hands, need to use clean water to brush their teeth. They need some hygienic systems so this impact will help in a more scalable way. So we talk about water storage, water where how to better catch the water, how to storage better, how to treat, and how to use the product in the end of the cycle. So it's one of it's a top important step in our project. So the whole system will work as one.
And are these paints that come from the seeds?
Yeah. That one now.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. Okay.
So and we to have this common in the workshops and in all the program, we need to have someone that is inside the community to leadership all of we are doing. So in this case of the pilot, we have Isabel, who is the teacher of Mutum. She was like a kind of a mother for us inside there, because she was every time going all the houses representing us like every day. So you're doing this, you have some issues to do the maintenance or anyway. But in the workshops was something really important to have her explaining everything about the water, the problems, about the products. So first we do like a capacitation with her, and then she started to give the capacitation with all of the indigenous peoples, because it's they're talking with them. It's not like an inside information coming. So this was something like that changed the way we were doing the workshops, and it was amazing results.
And now we always have to have a leader from the community to lead this, because as Ron was saying, even to explain is important, because no, acabou. It's over.
I will go get
All right. So yeah, it's really important to have these leaders everywhere. So this was really a model that we are now replicating to other
I'll
communities.
talk some more in the assessment part about this
All right.
engagement. So what we were talking, now is the assessment part, so I'll talk so one of the things we were testing in this pilot, so we're piloting to expand it, was this whole system, how it worked, and mostly also with the assessments, so we can actually reach the precise data and results to see if it worked or not just the bag, the water is clean, but the whole system. So once we get in the communities, we do a baseline to understand, okay, so what is the wash reality in this community? And this is, we have different aspects that we look. We see the health. So Isabel went to each house saying, oh, how is your family doing? How is your kid? Has he had diarrhea or fever or any other waterborne diseases, related diseases that you think happened in the last 6 months? So we try to comprehend what is the whole scenario of this community, but also how they use water. So where do you catch water? In Mutum, there are people that were catching water in the river, but they have also some wells. So some people were getting the well, some people got the water straight in their houses. So we need to understand these different parts as well. And some people, and we see here, for example, that 81% of the families didn't treat the water. And treating, we're talking about, for example, decanting water. leave the water in a storage to let the mud go down. So we're not even talking about huge treatment systems, just some system to make the water a bit better, or chlorine, So we see that 81% didn't do anything about it, just cut the water and drink it straightly. So out of these 25 families, 96 had some issues on the last 6 months of diarrhea, fever, vomiting. And what is really interesting here, and it connects straight to the educational part, that is 96 means 24 out of 25. And the only family that didn't have had any waterborne diseases were the family of the Aizan. It's called the water and sanitation agent, because he was the only person who had workshop previously about WASH. So
And he chlorine his water, right?
yeah, and he also used chlorine and everybody had chlorine in the village. But we heard, like in many indigenous villages, that and everywhere, nobody likes to drink chlorine water. It doesn't taste good, and you don't want to drink it your whole life. So it was something that the government gives to them to treat the water, but it's not something adapted to their cultural way of.
And it's not a long-lasting solution.
Yeah, exactly. And not even a long-lasting healthy thing.
Exactly.
After many years drinking chlorine, you have other problems. So. And this is a bit of the baseline we did to understand where are we starting at. And after the 4 months, so we hired Isabel to do this baseline, and 4 months of exchange with the family. She used to she had forms to write down. She went to every house every 2 weeks to ask, "Oh, how are you doing? How is the product? Can you use it? Can you maintain it? How is your family doing?" And during this 4 months after the project, all the symptoms during the wet season, which is the season with the most waterborne diseases symptoms, no family had any product related to water. So this was the main positive result that we didn't even expect all of this, So it was a huge surprise. And we came back 1 month later to see and to talk to everybody and to make sure all these numbers were true. And it was really incredible to see all these results. And we do it 4 months as well. This is important. Isabel was hired for a year because of the pilot, but we do this assessment for 4 months because the product was developed to be an autonomous product for the families. So during these 4 months, they will have assessment. They will have assist to learn how to use the water and all these different wash tips and advices we give. Because if in 4 months this family can do it, she would do it for the next months and years. So it's like a period of adaptation that we want to make sure we're there to help out. Because after that, the family can go on its own steps.
Danny, just to add on that, the results are incredible, as I said. And just to point it out again, these were only possible because of the reception that we had, on the workshops, the presence of them, the leaders also, not only Isabel, for them to call out the community and say, come on, guys, this is happening. This is a great solution. You really need to take care of it. You really need to pay attention of what they're saying. And then Isabel just followed their tip and their leadership. So this is why it was such a great result.
Yeah, and Isabel didn't come out of the blue. She was indicated for them. Isabel, she's the teacher. She's gonna be the responsible to do it. So it was nothing random.
And actually, she was really pissed off, right? She was really before you came here, we already knew we needed to change this. So I was crazy, and we need to. She wants to make everything works. She's a doer, So it was great.
And so after these results, we, as we had this promise, this compromise with Laura and Tashka, we expanded the project also with Ambev, and AMA is a brand inside the Ambev that forwards all the profits from their sales to water-related projects. So we expanded the project, to the other 13 villages of the Rio Gregório River.
Which is their indigenous territory.
Yeah. And now is when Guedes come. Guedes is the wash agent in Mutum. And he was the kind of the Isabel from the pilot, because the schools were back. Isabel had to go back to teaching. She couldn't come with us. So Guedes was now this agent. And he was the sort of a project manager to go with us in all the villages and help us on the workshops, and to have really this family entrance. Guedes has a brother or a son or a sibling in every village. So we were always at his home,
You picked the right person.
Yeah. So we always came there. People embracing us, saying, okay, this is family coming, we can do.
We always had good food. Good food for that.
Yeah.
And you can see by their faces, like they're really paying attention. And this is why it happened.
So we also did the wash workshops on the villages we worked, to bring all these aspects again. And we distributed not only the kit Camilo, the 157 kit Camilo, the backpacks with the filters on all the village, but we also installed 8 big distribution filters in strategic points in some of the bigger villages. Okay, so this is a filter that can filter from 1,000 to 20,000 liters per hour. As during the assessment of the pilot, we understood that in some points was necessary to have a large scale filter. So this was, for example, one of the adaptations we did from the pilot to the expansions.
Actually, one of the evolutions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is.
And also in this expansion, how do fish count? Oh, so it would count. So this is some of the pictures of this filter. So the backpacks we put on each houses or schools or centers, and these filters here we put on central distribution parts of the village.
But also in the small villages, are you gonna say that? Also in the small villages, they're heading to their houses, right?
Yeah, in some. The really small villages, we didn't put this one because it didn't make sense of the distribution. But in the bigger ones in smaller places. So here, for example, in this middle photo, there was the pipe coming in and going out straight to 6 houses that were near these places. So people were getting water in their tap already filtered.
Yeah. We don't have that in Brazil, just to make it clear. It's not like that in Brazil at all.
So, quick question for you, for the kit Camelo, right, the backpack, where does the water come from to fill it?
So before we got there, it was really common for them either to pump from the wells or to go somewhere and store it in a big tank.
Okay.
So nowadays, instead of taking from this big tank and drinking, they take it, put on the backpack and filter. Or if they had to go somewhere, they can go with the backpack, fill it there and go home with the backpack, and not with the huge tank or panel, which is dangerous. And we heard stories of how dangerous it was and how hard it was to carry it. And the backpack helps also in this catch and transport step of the.
But also from streams, from little streams, they can catch the water from there and put it
through the filter.
Yeah, what we always say is that it's gonna filter the bacteria, the Ichicabilo, right? The backpack is gonna filter bacteria, protozoa, and suspended particles larger than 0.1 micron. But the other solution that Daniel just showed us, it's also gonna filter the viruses. And now with this one, it's taking out of the water 4 of the contaminants that leads for the 5 more common waterborne diseases. So this is why this is such a great technology, like such a great product. And also because of the maintenance. Is it gonna show the maintenance?
No.
No? So the maintenance it's really simple. It's a backwash system. So it really enables the solution to last longer with a really practical, as Tashka was saying, really practical way of maintaining. So they don't need to buy any other pieces.
I want to just be mindful of time. We have
Yeah.
another minutes. We can go through the presentation and open it up to questions because we haven't had a chance to.
Let's just do a quick roundup. So also in this expansion, not only the 13 villages, but we also covered the festival. So the Yawana Festival held in Mutum, that was also Mazzini's birthday. More than 100 people went there to celebrate Yawanawa culture and Mazzini's birthday.
I thought it was
And-
600. I thought, wow,
Yes,
he's
I was-
old. Yeah, I thought the Mazzini is 600.
So we put both technologies there to cover it.
So this is the Kit Camelo, you
Yeah,
see?
This is the
This
kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
And
How heavy is it if it's
It's
full
15 liters.
capacity?
It's 15 liters, so
Okay.
it's basically 15
kilograms.
kilograms. Yeah,
Okay. That's
and that's way better. You see, like another culture, like they put it on the head or something like that. This is an ergonomic way of transporting, so it won't lead to structural problems on your body.
Yeah, and in this expansion, we also hired 13 agents through the villages for 5 months to make all this assessment and following up with the families. So it's an important period of reinvesting on the community as well. And out of the 67% of families that also related on the first 3 months, we also could eliminate this waterborne diseases inside these families.
And to replicate the result.
Yeah, and so adapt and keep the results we have. So all in all, this project, we reached 1,700 people in the Rio Gregório, between indigenous and people who participated on the festival.
And this is just directly, because there are a lot of people who goes to the communities and who are impacted also, like they're always traveling between the communities from other indigenous peoples. So,
and we have a really beautiful 5-minute video. Can we show to close it all and to...
Okay, before we ask questions, before we go to the questions, you think it's okay to show it before we go to questions?
Yeah, I think it's better, right?
Yeah, I think it's better show the video.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, and then
It's much
questions.
better.
Okay.
and it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and I wanted to also invite the people online, if you have any questions, to put them in the chat and Q&A box, and we'll monitor
Yes.
them, and, yeah.
Fala em português aí.
Convidar as pessoas que estão no chat para colocarem as
Câmera tá
perguntas.
Olha para lá,
Pode ser em português também, que a gente vai tirar as dúvidas de vocês.
Yeah.
E tem muitos de Yawanawá conectados agora, acabei de ver aqui no meu
Aí,
Instagram.
vou te falar, tem
Então,
que
quiser fazer-
tem que optimizar. Yeah.
Aqui tem um vídeo do trabalho da aula também, não, we're going to show this short video.
One moment.
One moment. Yeah.
Foram 14 horas de voo de avião, mais 2 horas e meia de carro, mais 6 horas subindo o rio. Isso tudo com mais de 250 quilos de carga.
Não é fácil chegar até aqui. O rio muito raso, muito sol quente, muito mosquito, mas vocês não têm olhado para essas dificuldades, têm chegado até aqui.
Quero agradecer a Deus pela essa equipe que chegou até aqui na terra indígena, povo Yawanawá, que hoje não é só a Yawarani que está recebendo, mas sim o povo inteiro.
Faixa de mortalidade infantil era muito grande, por isso que os Yawanawá não conseguiam aumentar, né? Porque a gente, nessa década aí de 80, 70, 80, 90, a gente praticamente foi quase extinto, né? Então o índice de diarreia era muito grande, principalmente na época do inverno. E eu tinha muito medo quando chegava o inverno, porque eu sabia que alguém ia morrer.
Então a gente não bebe água limpa. Na época do inverno, A gente não bebe água limpa. Vocês que já vieram aqui no inverno sabem que a água é bem barrenta e é aquela água que a gente bebe. Pega aquela água barrenta, coloca lá na panela, deixa sentar, a gente fala que deixa sentar. Aí tira sua água de cima, quando você vai ver embaixo, tá um monte de barro embaixo.
This is Isabel.
E nós nunca imaginemos assim que iria chegar hoje uma mochila dessa, né, com água potável para nós. E isso agora foi uma coisa assim rápido que foi anunciado, né, e já chegou na nossa aldeia essa água de qualidade.
Agradecer mesmo vocês que trouxeram essa água para água não, esse material, né, para que a gente pudesse tá chique, tomando água filtrada e muito bonito.
Depois tudo é de graça mesmo?
É de graça mesmo. Aqui a recompensa só.
Duas voltas pra frente assim e aperta aqui, tá? Aí você pega e bota no armador.
Espero que todas as aldeias recebam isso com muito amor, com muito carinho, com muito respeito e agradeça muito porque está chegando para nós. Porque para mim, eu já estou muito feliz por receber todo esse apoio. Mas para mim também é muito importante levar para outras aldeias. Porque senão nós vamos estar aqui, muito bom, e tem uma pessoa ali também, que aqui o vizinho que também está ruim. Eu já a gente sempre está compartilhando. Então é muito bom o que vocês estão fazendo. Muito obrigado mais uma vez. Né, que esse trabalho de vocês continua fortalecendo as famílias, as aldeias, as pessoas que estão precisando. Né, porque aqui vocês já deixaram uma coisa muito boa, nunca vai ser esquecido não. Vocês estão fazendo parte de uma grande história do nosso povo.
Né, a água é vida.
A água ela é vida, né?
Porque uma água é vida, né?
É vida, né, a água.
Congratulations, everybody. Thank you. I want to open it up to questions. Incredible, very moving 5 minutes. Thank you, based on many months of your work. Thank you for that.
Anyone have a question?
Especially, yeah.
Hi, wow. Thank you. Thank you. I commend you and the team for everything that you've done. I think my question is really to the technology. How did you create such a simple solution? Is it patented? And how do you keep developing it? Are you all technologists? Where did it come from?
Yeah, we like to call ourselves like kind of crazy inventors because we are all designers. So, but we didn't actually develop the technology itself. What we did, and that, as I was saying the other event, we don't see the technology as the solution itself.
Right.
We see it as a tool. And the solution itself, it's much more, as we were saying, the partnerships, the way to approach the community, to the way we build all the product.
Well, the adoption is clearly a testament to that. Absolutely.
Exactly. And what we actually did was to search for a technology that would fit what we wanted to do. And this of the filtration of the bacteria, the protozoa, and all these contaminants, but also the durability. Because indigenous communities, they are not connected to sources of other pieces, so they wouldn't be able to buy it. This would not work at all. So the thing is, what we did was to create a model, a business model, a viable model to make it happen, you know. So we didn't patent it, and actually to scale it, the next waves are actually two. We need to get traction. We need to sell to more companies, to give to other communities the filtration systems and to implement that. Because as I was saying, who don't have access to drinking water every day, they're hurried to have it. So we need to get there today, tomorrow, as fast as we can. But on the other side, we do believe that we need to develop a new approach to really scale our work and to really solve the water crisis. Because what we do today is great, it's incredible, but at this pace, we won't even scratch the surface. Because in these 2.5 years, we have impacted 12,000 people, and there are more than 35 million people who lack access to safe drinking water just in Brazil. And these are the official data.
Yeah.
Who we are on the ground, we know that this number is way larger than it appears. So we are developing 2 other solutions. One is using free water for an exchange of advertisement. I can take it deeper with you. And the other one, it's really combining our knowledge, our network of partners, our network, not only indigenous peoples, but all of our partners, our knowledge on how to build this kind of products with tech and with microfinance. And this another way, another pathway to really scale.
There's an interesting question here, Chat. Can I go for it?
Absolutely,
So
please,
maybe we have time for one more.
Sure,
right?
sure, yeah.
So she was asking here, I assume before development of the Amazon that the Yawanawa had clean water. What were the main forces that contributed to the degradation of the water quality? So I think you want to answer or I can answer?
I mean, you can compliment, but I don't know the scientific thing about this, but the water has some microorganism, viruses. It's not like pure water. That's why we need the filters, right? But you have the scientific answer.
And this is something a lot of people that are not from the forest think, oh, they're in the Amazon forest, they have a lot of rivers, so they have perfect water. No, nobody can go in the most clear river. There will be animals drinking the water. There will be animals dying on the margins of the river. And in the flooding times, the water goes up. It takes everything that is on the forest, mix it all with mud and rest of bacterial contamination. So no, the rivers in the Amazon, even though there is no mining or predatory exploration, the waters are, even though not safe for drink. So yes, even though there are not these huge problems like the Yanomami, for example, with mercury and other metals, we still need treatment for the water because the natural water of the rivers are not safe for drinking.
Thank you, that's so helpful. I did want to, I know that we're out of time, but if there's any more questions from the room here, anyone else? And I did. Yeah,
There is
sure.
one more question online.
Please go ahead.
So this question is for Team Agua Camelo. How do you see the different filtration products being used in context outside of the Amazon? And additionally, what types of obstacles did you overcome to mobilize communities to adopt the usage of the tools that you've created?
Awesome. So as we try to explain, we started all with the Kit Camelo, the backpack. And during the pilot project we did in the Moontoon, we had this calling, like we need something larger. So we funded another solution, the larger filtration system, and that lead us to really seeing an opportunity to replicate that in some way for the favelas, because it's not copy and paste. You cannot do that with social products that won't work. So we are now, as I was saying, the free water for advertisement. It's kind of a water kiosk in our larger filtration systems to attend the favelas. And the other, as I was saying, the other wave is to really scale the impact to all the communities that really do need it. But
Can I answer the second part?
Yeah, sure.
About adopting, or you want to?
No, go ahead.
No, so I think, and this goes together with the assessment part, this monitoring and feedbacks to hear how it was and how it should be of the community, but mostly the community engagement. So how we first got there, with the leadership, with the Yawanawa Association saying, hey, we need it. And they said that because they have the dialogue with all the communities and all the families that they say, hey, yeah, we all need it. So it comes from that. And afterwards, from this monitoring, we also with the community engagement, that is not me, Daniel, going there here and spending 1 week here to make sure you're all using the product. No, it's Isabel, that is the neighbor or is the mother or is the sister that goes there and say, hey, this is important, let's do it. For those who haven't understand yet, because on the workshop, like most people get involved and understand the importance of it. The community engagement, they are autonomous to make it work and to keep the project going.
And actually, just to the barriers, I think she also sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, the barriers we face today is much more on finding the ones who really want to fund it and to really willing to make this investment on providing access to safe drinking water. I think this is the biggest barrier we are trying to overcome, and this is why we are also thinking about this B2C type of business model.
No, I just had a quick comment around technology and diffusion. So in the small grants program, we fund a lot of demonstration projects to show how, for example, improved cook stoves can be adapted to particular circumstances. And what we've seen is that sometimes with an individual demonstration project with a lot of trust, another donor comes to amplify and to replicate it. And so, for example, just kind of disseminate lots of these cook stoves to communities, and then people don't use them; they leave them in the corner. And so there are often these micro, somebody said microcultural barriers to just sort of unlock and I think it's a testament to your approach that you've been able to build this trust. But I think in your next stage, the question is how you build in this assessment process throughout, because the temptation will simply be to diffuse the bags everywhere, and maybe the people won't use them. So how do you keep building this assessment process into it? And I think in some of the work we do in UNDP, there's a lot of talk about behavior change. And every time I hear that, I always say, no, you have to understand the behavior before you change it. It's very arrogant to just change. And so I'm just sort of encouraging you to keep a portion of what you do with other donors in that understanding.
Totally, great point. And I think that comes, our approach comes from what we studied, because in our school, our approach to design is the human-centered design. So what we do down there is we don't come with the solution. We build the solution with the people that we are working with. So there is, of course, the willing to democratize our solutions and to really solve the water crisis. This is what we really want to do in our lifetime. This is what we are willing to do, and we are gonna do it. But we are gonna make it in a way that respect all the communities that we are working with, and to really replicate this model that we work with. And I think we can scale it with tech. This is where tech comes in. We're not coming away of what we are doing. We are just putting in tech to really scale it in a healthy way, in a healthy manner. Not just business-wise, but community-wise and solution-wise.
And talking about solution, we want everybody that's listening here, that is, participating in this meeting, we want you to all to be part of the solution by also contributing, because we still have a lot to do. The best to really solve the problem in the Yawanawa land will be to really have more of these robust filters, in each. So, each child, each family has really access, to this purified water. So there is still a lot to do, and we invite you all, contribute to make this possible. So, so we one day can say, everybody, every child, every man, every elder, everybody in the Yawanawa land has access to pure water. Let's make it possible. And now we found the way, which is the resources.
that's a perfect conclusion. Just thank everyone, thank our friends, thank Agua Camelo, UNDP, Traveling Foundation, everyone that worked to make this happen, every one of my colleagues who helped and who made this event happen. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone for coming. Thanks everyone online. Follow Agua Camelo, Yawanawa, Great Initiative, Traveling online, and yeah, please, let's continue meeting.
Thank you,
whenever
Nina,
it's
our
available.
moderator.
Let's take a photo together.
Yeah,
shall we?
please, let's-
Okay.
let's have a
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
A photo?
Yeah, photo.